All right, we are live. What's going on, T-Shirt Millionaires? I'm Charles Smith III, the host of the T-Shirt Millionaires live show. And today we got a very exciting brother. This guy, actually, I didn't have any idea who he was, right? And one day I'm going on Facebook and I'm looking through my free Facebook group, and he has this long post. And when I looked at the post, we're going to go to that a little bit when we watch this interview, but I was going through the post, and the dude, he got like 400, 500 likes on the post, but he talked about his story. And so I ended up reaching out to him and was like, bro, I feel like the audience will really benefit from hearing your story and what you've been through. So today we have David Jefferson. He is the founder, the creator, the owner of a dope brand and a dope store called Stackin Kickz. And this is going to be an amazing conversation. We're going to talk about the highs. We're going to talk about the lows and how he's been able to get his brand to where it is today. So with that being said, y'all know how we do it. I'm gonna go ahead and hit this intro video, and we'll be right back to have a great conversation with David.
Let's get it.
What's going on, T-Shirt Millionaires? Charles Smith III, host of the T-Shirt Millionaires live show. Today we got David Jefferson, the founder, the owner, the creator of Stackin Kickz. My brother, how you doing, bro?
Oh man, I'm blessed, man. Everything is working out to my advantage, man.
Oh man, that's amazing, my brother. I was reading some of your posts somewhere, and I heard you're really into like energy. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Different types of energy. So we definitely gonna talk about that. That's my vibe for sure. But I appreciate everybody being here. It looks like we got a lot of people. Big ups to David. So proud of him. Hi everybody. I'm ready. Make sure to like and share. Kim Pham already dropped the super chat. Appreciate that. Hello, y'all. Many blessings, Phoenix, and then salute David. So my brother, man, tell everybody who you are and what you do, man. Like who is David Jefferson and what is Stackin Kickz?
Oh man, David Jefferson, man. David Jefferson was a guy, man, who kind of always felt like he was supposed to do something, be a part of something, like even as a kid, like I just had this weird feeling that I was going to have to do something great, you know what I'm saying, one day. And it just never left my mindset. I've been struggling with that, you know what I'm saying, my entire life, knowing that like I'm built for just something a little bit bigger, something different. Maybe just something more inspiring, more creative and whatnot, and so like, that's where I come from, man. I'm a man that's at this point in my life, I'm real major on energy, big on spirituality, big on universe, big on tapping in, with your inner self and bringing out the best things that you got to offer that you were created with exclusively, you know what I mean? And so, man, it just, that's kind of part of my story. That's how I got here. Always searching, always just keeping my mind open, trying to see where my next move was supposed to be, and just trying to let the universe guide me instead of guiding myself. Where, we end up wanting to do our own thing, and sometimes that's contrary, to what you designed to do.
Man, I already know that this conversation gonna be on point, bro. Cause all that stuff that you speaking, bro, that's my language, and that kind of has been the way that I've navigated through my journey as well. So, tell me this, fam. Like, it seems like you are a seeker. You talked about searching and finding, what I'm saying, that identity, that purpose, right. What you should do. Before you even got to the clothing thing, like, what types of dreams and passions were you pursuing that led you up to here before you got here?
I think one of my major passions was probably fashion. You know what I mean? Like,
okay.
I've been a big fan of sneakers. I've been collecting shoes since I was real small, man. Second, third grades, whatever, bro. I just had a passion, and passion is what I define as something that you don't necessarily choose. It chooses you. And it's something that you kind of have to accept, and that's something I've always been a part of, my entire life. I've loved it. I would do anything for it. I've worked for these moments. I've worked just to get shoes and clothes when I couldn't get nothing else. It's just something I really had a lot of concern and love for, man. And so, like I definitely thought that as a kid that it'd be nice to have my own clothing brand when I was like in elementary or something like that. But in my mind at that time, I was so young that I just didn't, it just seemed too far fetched. I'm like, that's a nice idea, but you know, that'll never happen for me, you know? And that's kind of how we've been sort of, I think, trained to think sometimes when it comes to success. We don't really see that in ourselves. And, you know, and before anybody else is going to see it, we got to see it first. And that's something I had to accomplish.
What are some of the things that you did, you know, to be able to start seeing like, okay, this is something that I could do, like, you know, really tapping into that self that you talked about earlier? Like, are there any practices, anything that you did to really develop that over time? Like, tell me about that inner journey.
The inner journey, man. You know, the inner journey is crazy, bro, because I just feel like in this society we raised in, you know, we are more inclined to mimic what's going on around us. You know, and with that being said, it puts us in a lot of energetically compromising positions, spiritually compromising situations that don't necessarily fit with what you're doing. And so the problem with that is that, or the you know, the fix for that is to, you know, stop trying to identify yourself on an external level. You know what I'm saying? Like we have to, like, it's our duty as human beings to go inside of ourselves, man, to pull out what we have and distribute that accordingly to the universe and to the community and people around us. Otherwise, our life won't make any sense. Like we won't really know why we're here. We won't know what we're supposed to be doing. We won't know what our calling is. We'll continue to try to mimic what's going on around us, and those things are not always lined up, you know, with our overall talents and our overall skills and unique abilities that, you know, we've been given specifically and exclusively, you know, by the universe, by your spiritual person, you know, whatever you believe in that moves you forward, you know. And so, I mean, that's really what it is, bro. Like, and I'm one to tell you right now, plenty of times, you know, I went outside of myself, trying to identify myself, trying to figure out what type of man was I, you know, like if I can click up with this group, I'll feel like I belong to something. If I do what they do, I'll be included in that success model. And none of those things actually worked, bro, in the bigger scheme of things. You know, they didn't work. And so, you know, it got to a point in my life where like I really knew that if I was going to be successful, man, I was going to have to tap into the things that I'm the best at, things that I'm good at, talents that I was born with, you know. And that's kind of how I decided on fashion. I told myself like, hey, I'm good at this. This is what I love. This is what I do. I have to find a way to build a business, you know, out of this love and passion. Otherwise, shit's not going to make sense for me.
Oh, hey, that's powerful for everybody in the audience, right? My dog, he just talked about, you know, not identifying ourselves with the external, right? Not get to a place to where we are mimicking maybe what society says or what they're doing, but really going inside and diving inside and understanding the gifts and the talents that you have, so you can distribute it to the universe. Those are straight bars. I appreciate you sharing that insight, my brother. So, you know, you tapped into, you know, fashion at a young age, right? And you talked about you having the desire for it, and you realized those were your gifts. When did you get to the place where you started exercising these gifts and start trying to build a business with them?
Man, I'm glad you asked me, bro. I got an important story, man, about fear, you know, and how I started to embark on this journey. I knew what I wanted to do. I knew I was good at fashion. I didn't know how I was going to do it. I didn't know how I was going to do it. I had no idea what it was going to take. You know, so it was a little bit stressful. It was a little bit rough, you know, being at my last, like, I remember being at my last $1,000, man. And I was working at the time, you know, I think like, you know, working hourly wage somewhere. I think I was doing customer service somewhere, man. And, you know, I saved up a little bit of money, man. It was maybe like $1,000 flat I had to my name. And I wanted to get in this clothing industry. I knew nobody in the industry yet, you know, where I'm from. It wasn't nothing going on like that in Portland. You know what I mean? So I had to kind of be one of the, I wasn't the very first person to create clothes and build a movement out here, but I was just one of the pioneers, you know? Shouts out to Marquise Ramon and a couple of other guys that was actually working out here before I did. But even then, it's like the point is I was still nervous about it. I was going to have to, really, really pull out of myself everything that I was and have to, properly send these vibes and these currents through the universe. And so when it came time, so I found something I like. I found some merchandise I like. I don't really know. It really wasn't that tight now that I look back at it. But I do remember finally having the money. I was online. I was ready to make the purchase. It was $1,000. I was on my lunch break at work. And I sat down at the computer to make the purchase. And right before I hit the button, I got up. I got up and left, man.
He was out of there.
I got up and left, man. And I walked away. I took about 5 steps. And this is when I first became tapped into my spiritual awareness, my spiritual self. And what I mean by that is this when I first started understanding it's bigger than me. It's bigger than how I feel. It's bigger than what I think I want to do. And it's bigger than what I'm scared of and what I'm fearful of, right? And so at that moment, a thought came in my head, just like that. And it said, if you don't do it now, when will you do it? I pondered that thought for about 3 seconds, and I went back and I hit the button, man. And my life has been the same since, bro.
So that $1,000 that you had, and you saw this. What was it? Was it some wholesale stuff? Like what was it that you ended up buying?
It was like some wholesale shirts I was buying. Like it was some corny stuff, man. Back in the time, they had buttons on it. They were just weird colors. It was just something I had never seen before in my city. And so I'm like, okay, let me try this here. And long story short, I got the merchandise. I didn't like it. It wasn't what I thought it was going to be. I was able to sell a few of them. I didn't really make any money, but more than that, I learned to trust myself. I learned to trust my inner gut, trust my spirituality. I created conversation through people in the city that knew that I was now actually really selling clothes now, actually really have product, you know what I'm saying? And if they didn't like this, well, what would you guys like? What can we do? What should I get? So that got the conversation started about what I could do because they start taking me serious after that. You know what I'm saying? Right. And I think that was the point to where like I really, really started stepping outside my box and I lost all my fear. I stopped being fearful and now I take more chances every day now, man. And it's made my life an amazing journey, bro.
That's amazing, bro. That's extremely powerful to know that, you have these financial resources and you put it on the line, really. You put it on the line, but how powerful that exchange was energetically, right? You gave that money, but then it just boosted you to another place, gave you a new set of confidence and opened up these new opportunities for you. So at that point in time, you ended up getting this stuff wholesale. Like you said, you weren't really feeling it as much, but it got your name out. People start taking you more serious. Right. What happens after that? What do you start doing? What's the next move that you're guided to at that moment in time?
I think what happened after that, I started to, this is, again, we had no resources. This is why I say people got it way easier now than when somebody like me had it back in like 2005, trying to buy and sell clothes. The resources way bigger, so it won't take somebody as long as it took me to get to this point, But the point is, man, it made me more comfortable. I just started trying stuff, man, and so a big point of this journey, man, is taking chances, not being scared to lose a little bit of money. You don't have to have it all figured out, man. All you got to do is keep trying, and as you take these chances and try to create these opportunities, if you don't earn money, you learn lessons. And I think a lot of people come into this game a little nervous about what they might lose or what might not work. I forgot about what might not work. And I just kept trying to put energy into things that I thought could work, that maybe work, that may not work, but that I would learn something from. You know what I'm saying? Right. And so my education, my wisdom came from taking so many chances. Like I tried a lot of stuff, man, to I tried a lot of stuff, bro, to be able to, really, really get things out to me that people can connect with. I contacted different people. I was reaching way outside of my community, way outside of my city, way outside of my country at times, just to see what can I do. I'm trying to become wise in this game,
Right.
And I had to start from the bottom, ordering stuff, trying stuff, talking to people, showing, even before I started the brand, bro, in 2010, I walked around with a piece of paper with my designs on it for at least a few weeks and said, hey, would y'all wear this? Would y'all wear this? Would y'all wear that? You guys like these? Like getting information, man, connecting with people, like having conversation, building energy, so that people know that what you're doing is serious, and that you believe in this, and that it's okay for them too as well.
That's that's powerful, bro. All this is powerful, and I keep hearing just as you talk, energy. Yeah. This is a recurring theme that's coming out, right? But everybody, my guy, he talked about he took chances, right? He said you don't have to have it all figured out, right? But as long as you start moving, as long as you're building that energy, you're learning different things, reaching outside of yourself, right? And then the dots start connecting. So you doing all these different things, bro. What and how long? Tell me this before we even get into that. How long was it when you were selling other people's clothes before you started your own brand?
5 years.
5 years.
5 years.
So when you ended up doing that, when you started, in the back of your mind, were you just thinking about all the time, I want to start my own, or what was the reason why you had this 5-year gap before moving into your own?
That's another amazing story, man. I remember I started selling clothes in 2005, and I think 2009 I went to the Magic Show in Vegas. Okay. Everybody know what that is, right?
Yep.
International Fashion Trade Show. I went there solo. Never been to Las Vegas before. I went by myself only because the energy said you have to be there. I didn't know why I needed to be there, but I knew I needed to be there if I was serious about this industry and about being in this game. And so I went out to Vegas. I didn't have a ticket inside the show. Luckily, some guys I knew had an extra ticket, bro, and they ended up one of their guys didn't show up, and they told me that, like, they said, if you pull up, we can give you, we can let you use a name tag to come in. And so, and the only reason why I really kind of wanted to go in at that time, because remember, I'm selling clothes, right?
Right.
I'm trying to sell clothes that nobody else has in my city.
Right.
So my goal is I'm going to go out to the show and see if I can find new clothes to come back and sell that only I would have. I wanted to be exclusive. Like my community, they call me exclusive, Mr. Exclusive, because the things I sold nobody else had, and I liked it like that. Right. So as I get out there, like, okay, so I'm in the Magic Show. I'm on the street side. I'm seeing like Janet Jackson, Fabulous is in there, Soldier Boy in there, Biz Markie in there, like, just a lot of famous people, a lot of girls with little bitty clothes on, a lot of dope music, a lot of stuff happening over there, right? And so I stopped and thought for a second, right? And I'm like, okay, I started buying clothes that I was going to take back to my city, right?
Right.
And so I talked to a dude in Portland before I left. And I remember one thing that he told me that I never forgot, and I just remembered it at that moment when I was there. He said, if you do get out there, check out the sourcing side, right? And so what I ended up doing was I asked the security guard, like, where is the sourcing side at? He said, that's in a whole nother building. Like, it was just at the Mandalay Bay in Las Vegas.
Okay.
He said, this is a whole nother building you got to go to. I said, oh, okay. So I walked out the one that was popping, went to a whole nother building, right? And I didn't hear nothing. No music, no little skirts, no artists, no nothing. I look in the door, man. It's about 80 manufacturers in there just putting stuff together.
Wow.
And I was like, oh, so these are the people that make it. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? I had no idea. And so at that moment, when I got home, I knew that I was going to try to start my brand when I got back home. You know what I'm saying? And that's kind of how I figured out that I could do my own brand. And I started thinking, if I can sell everybody else stuff, I mean, like, I should be able to sell my stuff too.
Right. You know? No, that's fire. So you went down there, not even with the intent, right, of, you know, figuring about the sourcing thing. I think somebody put it in your ear, right. But you know, when you got in that room and you saw those different manufacturers, were they local manufacturers or were they overseas? Like, what did you learn about them?
They was all international, baby.
Dope.
All international. And I started looking at their stuff, and I started seeing stuff that they had that I was trying to buy over here from these other brands.
Yeah.
You know, like, oh, this is where they make it at. And so now my mind is going in circles, bro. And I'm just like, so I could just create my own brand? Like, I had never really thought about that, you know, and I came back, you know, and I got to work.
Right. So that's fire, my brother. So you come back, it's almost like the veil was lifted. You know what I'm saying? You know what a plug is at this point in time. So then now, when you go back home, how are those creative juices flowing? Like, you know, what are you thinking? What ideas are you coming with, and where does that catapult you to next?
I'll be honest with you, bro. When I first got back home, I didn't really. This ain't even the first brand I created. First of all, this is the only one that I knew that could work if I really did what I was supposed to do.
Right.
I think in the beginning, I made a crucial mistake, but I think a lot of brands do. I think they create stuff that they like, things that just. I mean, you're supposed to do that, but it shouldn't be exclusively to you. You know, it should be something you like that branches out into the minds and hearts of other people, so that they can build a connection with your brand and feel like they're a part of it, right? I didn't do that at first. You know what I'm saying? I built something that I like with my name, with like a name that I was using in it that was just to me, and I realized that I was doing the wrong thing, and I backed up. You know, but back to that Las Vegas trip, you know, and speaking of spirituality, man, and like really letting your inner self guide you, because I see a lot of people saying divine intervention here. And it's true, you know, it wasn't really my decision to go to Las Vegas, you know, and this is what I'm trying to get people to understand, man. It's like, I don't make all the decisions no more. My decisions is handed down to me from the bigger picture. They know something I don't know. You know what I'm saying? And if I challenge my spirituality, I'm taking a chance of not really reaching my goals and not doing the steps that was lined up for me.
Right.
And so, and before I went to Las Vegas on that trip, I didn't know why I was supposed to go. And that's what I'm telling you. And this is why you don't need to have all the answers, man. You don't need to know. All you know is you got the feeling, you got the energy, the vibe. It wants you there. You don't need to know why. You don't need to know what. All you need to know is that you need to be there. And when you get there, we'll let you know at that point what you need to do, if you can follow the steps. Right. You know what I'm saying? And so that's why it's got to be bigger than us. It can't just be what we want all the time, bro. It's got to be bigger than that. You know, and if you're in any business, any type of brand movement, and you don't pay homage or loyalty to something bigger than you, you know, you're going to be struggling.
Wow. So many gems, bro. And a couple things that you pulled out and you spoke about. You talked about one of the big mistakes that, you know, brand owners will make is creating something that we like, but it doesn't really feed maybe the audience that you're trying to serve with a bigger picture. Right. And that was a mistake that you learned, right? You made, but you ended up learning. But before we even get to more of this tactical stuff, bro, because I mean, it's hard to ignore.
Right.
For the creators, t-shirt brand owners, entrepreneurs, I don't care what they are. How are you? You talked about getting decisions handed down to you. How do you notice that? How are you receiving this information and know and feel confident enough to follow it? How does a creator tap into that and be confident to know, okay, I got this feeling, this is what I need to do?
It's again, man, it's like you got to really be one with yourself, man. You got to really know who you are. You've got to always, I mean, you got to know who you've always been. And so, speaking of this subject, brand, like your brand needs to be you. And that doesn't mean it can't connect with more people. It doesn't mean that it is not a bigger picture. It doesn't mean it ends with you, but your brand has to be you, which means that it has to be authentic. Why do it got to be authentic? Because if it's authentically you, that means nobody else can create it. You know what I'm saying? Only you can. And that's why, and again, I talked about, not being overly influenced by, your external circumstances and your environment sometimes. And even in the clothing business, it's the same thing. Don't just make a brand because people are making money or because brands look like they're fun to have. Make a brand because this is really you. Everybody's making brands right now. And, T-shirts and clothes and sweatsuits, they're not in that high of a demand, but it's the brands that are in demand. And so to create that, you got to be authentic. You have to bring a piece to the puzzle that's been missing, man. You have to be able to realize that, my brand Stackin Kickz is something that I've been probably since I was 3 years old, man. So this ain't nothing new. This ain't no idea I just came up with. I've been loving this culture, this lifestyle since I was a toddler, man. You know what I'm saying? I've always loved shoes and clothes. And because of that, I need to be one of the best ones at creating this. And my brand name has to reflect that. And also, it just can't end with me. The brand also has to be able to identify another large number of consumers, a large number of people in the community, supporters. I got to speak to them too. We all got something in common. Maybe I'm just saying it better. Maybe there's a lot of people that Stackin Kickz but didn't know how to say it. You understand? And so that's my job, to bring the energy, fashionably to clothes so that they can properly identify the things that they care about. And now they feel like they're part of the brand. And now we building a dope brand together. It's not just me, it's a whole community now. I'm just the one who, was able to kind of zone in on the idea, realize what was missing, and try to create a culture, or pay homage to a culture that's very serious, that really got a lot of love in their heart, and would do anything to represent that,
That's fire, my brother. Hey, listen, everybody in the audience, y'all make sure y'all catch these gems and really this wisdom that my guy is putting out here, because it's powerful. Everything that he's saying, talking about, there's a lot of people who could be talking about Stackin Kickz, right? But he just put it in his own way. But he's also talking about speaking to a larger audience, speaking to the supporters. And one powerful thing that he just talked about was, he's building the brand together with the customers, right? Right. So I think that's just extremely valuable. So much game within there. Real quick, I passed this over earlier. Big shout out to Virginia Oliver. Virginia, thank you so much. Truly appreciate it. Says appreciate your time. Thank you so much for the support and for tuning in. So my brother, all right, cool. You end up doing this. You go back, you create a brand. That wasn't the one that you should do. What happens after you do that? Do you shut it down and you pivot and start something brand new? What happens after that?
I shut it down. I realized I was being a little bit selfish. I shut it down. I cut my losses. And I told myself that if I ever did do another brand, that, it was going to have to be a little bit more universal than that. And so I stopped building the brand for a while, and I went back to just selling shoes and clothes out the trunk. Until one day I was sitting, I think I was just sitting in my living room, like May 2010, and the idea just popped in my head. I don't know if I seen something about Vegas or what was going on, but I thought of the idea of stacking chips. And I thought about, I was like, I'm gonna make a Stackin Kickz shirt. It's the same thing. Yeah. Like you stacking what you like, you know what I'm saying? And so it's like, if you got a lot of shoes, you're not really laying them out everywhere. You should be stacking them, right, to save room. So I'm thinking this is a culture a lot of people probably actually identify with, right?
Right.
And also collecting shoes, was the normal terminology people use. That got boring to me.
Yeah.
Let's throw a spin on it. We no longer collecting shoes. Now we Stackin Kickz. That sounds a lot cooler to me.
Word. All right.
And I think people was able to identify with that, you know. And I remember when I knew that when I had the name in my head and nobody else had ever heard it yet besides me, I remember making the commitment saying, I'm gonna do everything. Okay, this is the one thing that I'm going to do everything in my power to make this a reality, you know, and I stuck with it.
That's fire. That's fire. I love it. And I appreciate the fact that, you know, you talked about just really putting a spin on the name, right? Just taking something that's ordinary that, you know, your audience already does, but putting some flavor to it, putting your own ingredients into it that people could really latch on. So cool. So you start going in that direction, stacking chips, Stackin Kickz, right? Similar stuff, great spin on it. How so did you reach back out to the manufacturers and start creating stuff, or were you creating locally, printing t-shirts? What exactly were you doing as far as the clothing?
Well, in all honesty, man, I stopped reaching out to the manufacturers once I messed up with the first brand, because I used some of them to make that stuff, but it wasn't a good idea, right? And so with Stackin Kickz, I didn't know what I was doing, bro. I didn't know how to make shirts. I didn't know the different types of materials or the different types of print methods. I didn't know anything, bro. Yeah. And I would tell you something, man. Like I said, it's way easier now than it was back then. Yeah. I went to, you know, like I had to buy shirts out the store. Like I didn't get them wholesale. I just bought shirts out the store, and you know, did some research and found people that print shirts. You know, and I took my first batch of shirts to this dude in downtown. You know, and it was at least a couple hundred shirts. And I took them down there, and he messed every single shirt up.
Oh,
yeah,
he was printing them.
But guess what? I didn't know they was messed up. You know what I'm saying? I didn't know that. Yeah. And so I thought that he was doing the right thing. You know, and you know, and in the end, they just started falling apart. You know what I mean? And it's just like, and that bothered me, bro, because I was looking forward, man, to seeing what my first shirts look like. You know what I mean? And so having that process interrupted by someone that wasn't competent enough to be able to, you know, really, really do his job, you know, it set me back a little bit mentally. Right. I didn't stop there, though, bro. Like I was insistent on making this happen, man. I looked around for more people, you know what I'm saying? Yeah. And, you know, I found another company, and they finally started doing them right. And they was like, man, your last shirts, I don't know how he even let that out the printing building. Like, he should have never did that. Yeah. And I'm like, I thought he knew what he was doing. It was horrible.
Right.
You know, and that became the process, man. And, you know, and just so people know, like, nobody knew what my brand was yet, right? So, you know, I had to give away some stuff. You got to give it, you know, brands must know that you need to be able to have a small budget or something so you can give away stuff for free. Because don't nobody know you yet. Ain't nobody got no connection with your brand, your logo. It don't mean nothing to them yet. It needs to be seen, you know, and that's just the price of marketing sometimes. You know, you got to do that, man. Be willing to throw some stuff around and, you know, be willing to, you know, really, really keep influential people rocking your stuff. You know what I'm saying? Like,
that's hard.
I did.
No, that's hard. That's hard. And big respect. I mean, you know, here you are trying to, you know, follow your direction and bring something to life. And then right off the bat, you run into a roadblock, right? And it's funny, man. You know, this game of business, we never know what, you know, those obstacles are going to be. And you had one room right off the bat when you started a brand, but, you know, you persevere, you kept looking. And I think that's valuable for everybody in the audience. Right. And then on top of that, you talked about, you know, giving stuff away for free. Your brand needs to be seen. So, you know, what were you doing? Were you giving it to friends? I know you talked about maybe even putting it in the hands of influential people. What type of influential people were you reaching out? How did that all come to play?
I just think that, you know, early on, I made some collaborations with, you know, local artists, you know what I'm saying? Like, I got a guy from here named Mighty that I rocked with. He did some stuff on BET. So he was starting to get a little bit of movement. We built a collaboration together with his brand in mind. But his brand was music brand, you know what I'm saying? But mine was fashion, but we brought them together. Yeah. You know, I sponsored a dance team. You know, and just people around town that had a little bit of energy, that had been building their music career or art career, whatever they was doing. I was looking to collaborate, man. I was looking to collaborate and get people wearing my stuff, and I knew I had work to do, and I knew that it was going to cost me, and I was prepared to pay the price to see my brand around.
That's dope. That's dope. I love it. I love it. So, those were your early marketing tactics and how you start doing. And at that point in time, bro, were you still, slinging them out the trunk? What were you doing?
Yeah. My brand wasn't really making no money like that, really. But, so I had to, I was still out the trunk with other stuff. And I was in the transition period, you know what I'm saying?
Right.
And so I was trying to transition from selling other stuff to selling all my stuff. But I had to kind of cross people over almost sometimes without them even realizing they was being, crossed over like that. You know what I'm saying? But not on nothing like no malice, but like, hey, I also got these now, and this is my stuff.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? And people like, hey, that's tight. That's tight. Some people was really on it when they first saw it. It was like, man, that's dope.
Right. That's fired. Okay. All right, cool. So when did you feel like you got, some of your first major wins with the brand? Like, or did that come till later on? Like, tell me about that.
Well, the first time around, I started doing pretty cool, man. I don't know if I can say the brand was financially able to take care of me, but I will say that because I was one of the only people with a brand in the town at that time, I think the town really appreciated the fact that somebody from their city was trying to create something different from the city that represented the city pretty well.
Right.
And so people really did start wearing my stuff, rocking my stuff. They start buying, things started going really good, so it probably took about maybe a year and a half before people really start like realizing that, I was here to stay. Like 2012, a lot of people was rocking Stackin Kickz back then.
Okay. Dope. Okay. So what I want to do, bro, is I want to go back and take a look at, this Facebook post real quick, right? We were in the T-shirt Millionaires Facebook group. And so, one day I'm just scrolling through, like I said, and I see this story. And if y'all look at this, you'll come down here. We got 91 comments, 448 likes that are on here. But you go through this story, right? And you say, selling clothes for 16 years, have had my own brand for 11. It's been a lot of ups and downs. I went flat broke, was late on rent for 3 years straight. I've quit for a few years thinking it wasn't going to work and became frustrated with myself, but I didn't quit. I came back this time and I'm here to stay. All right. Now you got a lot going on after that, and I'm going to come back to that. But I wanted to talk about, when did these struggles happen? When did these things happen during your process to where you went flat broke, to where you couldn't pay rent for that time? Because that spoke to me personally, and I know it spoke to a lot of people in the audience. So let's talk about where did that happen along your journey?
I think it just happens, man, becoming uninspired and not being able to handle the energy around you. See, where I'm at spiritually now, I've always been sort of spiritually inclined ever since I started. I mean, I do follow the bigger picture. I listen to my spirit guides and whatnot. But there was definitely a point in my life to where, I was in bad relationships. I became unmotivated. I wasn't protecting my energy from people around me and things going on. And also I just don't think that I was, I don't know. I think I lost commitment a little bit, thinking that maybe it wasn't going to work. And so I wasn't putting the effort in anymore. I wasn't really creating like I had started with, and just having the wrong people around me, man. So I got a real serious philosophy I call energy management, and really kind of breaking down the idea of how to handle energy going on around you and the people in your life, because that's a big factor. You know what I'm saying? And so that's what I'm going to say, man. It happened because I wasn't properly managing my energy like I was supposed to, and it caused me to be confused on what I was doing, kind of confused on who I was for that brief moment, holding on to relationships that weren't unhealthy, thinking that I can just create whatever I wanted before my brand was actually done being created, and just kind of bouncing around a little bit. It uninspired me, man, for a while. It really did. Yeah.
Wow. So, you get to this place to where, things get tough. Like you said, the whole energy management, just, everything that you were going through. How tough was that mentally, bro? I mean, going through it. I know you talked about being inspired. Did you just completely step away from the clothing game at the moment and do something else, or were you kind of still doing it, but you just didn't feel it? Like, what was going on?
I was still doing clothes, man. I was still creating. I just wasn't doing the clothes I was supposed to be doing, man. I
I
wasn't.
see.
I didn't have my heart in it at the time, I wasn't focused, bro.
Mm,
The people I had around me wasn't healthy for me.
mm, mm.
It just people started making me feel bad for being different. You know what I
Wow.
mean? And I think maybe for a second I wanted to buy into that, and I thought that maybe I could just be normal and not have to dive into myself so much and separate myself. Things like that.
Mm-hmm.
And subsequently, man, it took down the quality of my life, my finances, my living situation, my relationships, and it kept me on the edge for a long time.
Right.
In the meantime, I was still trying to inspire people. I mean, people still looked up to me. Nobody really knew what I was going through on that level. But it's just like it happens, man. Part of being successful in business is trying to manage the energy around you. You can't just have anybody around you when you're building the brand. Your brand gotta have access to your love, your passion, your heart, your drive, your uninhibited talent. It's gotta have full access to you, baby, man. Otherwise, it's not gonna really return the way you need it to. You gotta be free minded. You gotta be clear minded. If you're in a relationship, let it be healthy. If you got family you rock with, hang closer with the healthy ones, and give the toxic ones a little break for here and again. Whatever it is, though, keep good things around you, keep good conversations around you. Talk about moving forward. Keep positivity at your forefront, and cut off anybody, man, who takes away from your spiritual cup.
Right. That's powerful,
You
family.
got to. You got to.
Yeah. So man, I mean, you said so much there, but also you said your brand needs to have full access to you or it won't return the way that you want it to or need it to. And I think
Right.
that's powerful, having your heart, your soul, your energy, everything going to it. And you talked about being misaligned. So, in the midst of that pressure, bro, how you get up out of that? You know what I'm saying? And for the people who may have may be going through something like that or may hit some hard times later on. I mean, I know you mentioned about pulling yourself away from certain people, but what was that transition for you to where you were like, okay, I recognize something is wrong here. I got something has to move, something has to shake. What's next in your journey? What happens?
What I did, bro, changed my life at this point. Like I just told you about energy management, how important that is.
Yeah.
I got rid of every single person
Wow.
who drained me.
Right. Right.
Girlfriend, brothers at the time, any friendships that was fake, people that hated on me on the low, and like anybody that was inconsistent with their friendship or love for me. I just got rid of everybody, bro. I got rid of everybody. My mind started becoming free and clear. And at this moment, I tapped back in to my spirituality on a real level. And it said this to me. It said, if you want your life to make sense this time for real, you need to get back to what got you started. You need to get back to Stackin Kickz. And you need to do it right this time. And that was about 2 years ago, And
Wow.
and I did that, bro. I've been free. I've been clear. My mind's healthy. I'm happy. All my relationships are perfect. You know what I'm saying? Everybody's still getting cut off, man, who don't respect my boundaries. No love. No love lost, no hate, just separation, man, because I got bigger goals, and I have accountability to my community, man. They care about me. They care about what I'm doing, and I got to be loyal to that. And I was put in this position for a reason, bro, and so I'm not willing to compromise that for nobody at this moment. I'm done compromising my energy, compromising, my talents, my passions, and, I'm done dimming my light for people, man. You know,
That's dope, bro. So you got your place. No more compromising your energy. No more dimming your light. It seems like you really drew a hard line and said, you know what? Like, this is what it is. If you ain't feeding into me, if you draining me, we can't have any interaction. And it's nothing personal, right? But at the end of the day, you know what I'm saying? It's for you so you can be able to blossom and do what you got to do. So, you know, you get this word, you get this feeling like, hey, I got to get back to this Stackin Kickz. So what are your first moves? I mean, do you start creating some new designs? You start getting back and pushing the message? Like, what's happening after that?
Well, it's funny because you know, I'm from Portland, so I got a buddy of mine who also in the clothing business, and he also he started back in 2010 too, and he took a major break. And I remember he asked me to collaborate with him. I wasn't doing the clothes really at this time. He asked me to collaborate with him on a t-shirt idea, something that represented the city of Portland. You know what I mean? It was a Portland design. And I was like, all right, let's do it, bro. You know, I liked it. I appreciated what he was trying to do. We go way back. And so we collaborated on, you know, on a design, a local design. Well, people liked it, man. You know, they really started connecting with the idea, and they were just glad to see us back making clothes again. And they started supporting. And then I thought about it. I was like, man, you know, I'm going to have to bring Stackin Kickz back. And so one thing I did that people don't really know is I took them from the collaboration Portland brand I was doing with a friend of mine, and I kind of snuck Stackin Kickz in under their nose again.
Okay.
Because they was already buying other stuff from me at the time.
Right.
So, and I'm like, this is a good time to make that transition. And, you know, I don't think people even know what hit them. You know, all of a sudden they just buying Stackin Kickz and don't even realize when I started selling it again.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And so, you know, I came back with a resurrection design. I called it 2019, the resurrection of Stackin Kickz is what it was. And I made a shirt called the Resurrection in 2019. And I think people was really happy to see me back, man.
That's hard. That's hard. Like what did the shirt have, or what did the piece have? Like, how was the design?
The resurrection?
Yeah.
Let me see. 1 second.
That's just dope, y'all. I hope y'all inspired by this. I mean, this is way more than t-shirts and clothing today. This is about, man, on a spiritual level, you know what I'm saying? How to move, listening to yourself, positivity. This is everything. So you found it or nah?
Yeah. It's always bigger than clothes, man. You know, and let's speak on that for a second. I think the reason why people love me, man, because like it's so much bigger than clothes, man. Like we here for energy, we here for community, we here for love. Right. The conversations I have in my store on the daily, man, you know, they're better than some of my shirts.
Right,
you know,
right.
Like people get in here, I don't just sell stuff, man. We really sit down and we really talk. Right. And sometimes my supporters going through stuff. They ain't got to buy nothing from me. All we got to do is sit down and we can chop it up, you know what I'm saying? And if I can support, I can. You know, I do a radio. I used to do a radio show, bro. You know, I'm still working on my book, you know what I mean? But I don't just do clothes, man. Like, I'm super passionate about, like, connecting with people, you know, on deeper levels, man, you know, and just kind of seeing where I can support, you know what I'm saying? And I like doing that just as much. And the brand allows me to do that. But it's the first shirt I dropped in 2019.
Word. I love it, bro. I love it. It's kind of
hard to see, but it's got like shoe boxes in the background, and let's see. It's got like shoe boxes in the background a little bit.
Right.
Kickz, the resurrection, established 2010, Portland, Oregon. You know, I dropped this back in 19, you know, for the rebirth, man, and people have been sticking with me since, man.
Right. That's so fire, bro. That's dope. That's dope to see that, you know, like you said, you snuck that in under their noses and you came back with it. And, you know, they've been supporting and rocking with you. Tell me this, bro. You know, how is your, I'm always interested in notice about different creators. What's your creative process when it comes to design on the t-shirt? Do you do them on your own? Do you outsource? How do you come up with these designs and stuff?
Come up with them?
Yeah.
Now I don't graphic design.
Yeah.
I come up with the ideas though.
Right.
I don't know, bro. Like, it's just one of them things, man. Like, a lot of my designs just came from a lot of my design just kind of came from like just my process, bro. You know, just the spirituality aspect of it. Not really having to think. I don't really have to think too hard no more. You know what I mean? Like things just come to me. Either they make sense or they don't. You know, and that's been the way that I've worked. You know what I'm saying? Every design haven't always been dope. You know what I'm saying? But overall, like most of them have been pretty cool, man. You know, I might work on actually creating one, but most of my designs came to me just by sitting down, you know, and just ideas messing around, not even looking for nothing. They just pop up. And one of my most popular designs wasn't even supposed to be a shirt.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It wasn't even supposed to be a shirt. It was just something that happened. I was like, oh, I'm going to try this for a second. You know what I mean? And it just did what it did, bro.
Right.
And I'm like, and that's crazy. And that's part of the game. Well, that's why you got to take chances, you know, because you don't really know what your most popular shirt going to be. Everybody think that their shirt is the hottest. And when they put it out, you don't always get the response you want. And, you know, this the one that you really didn't like that much. You were second guessing. That's the one everybody loved. Right. You know, and so you just got to be, open-minded, bro. And you just got to be able to kind of feed off the people. I feed off the people a lot. In my mind, it's just as much their brand as it is mine, you know. And I honestly believe some of my customers, they'll fight me about this brand if they have
to. Hey, that means you got loyal support for sure. But that's the second time that you said that, bro. That's the second time where you was like, you feel like it's the customer's brand too, right? You building it with them. It's their thing too. And you mentioned that a couple of times. So tell me this, bro. I see in the background, right? You got jackets, you got nice, different type of sweatshirts, you got hats, all these different, products in your catalog. How have you created all of these, bro? Like, did you start? I mean, wow. Look at that, y'all. Look at that.
Kind of messy right now, but
yeah, no, it's all good. But look at that. Look at all that. And all that Stackin Kickz.
All of it, yeah.
Wow, bro. So tell me about that, man. The expansion from, starting off and coming back with that resurrection shirt to now you got just inventory and sweatsuits and sweatshirts, and you've expanded so much. Like, talk to us about that, bro, because you've taken your brand to a place to where so many people would probably be interested in going, but they have no idea how to build block by block. Like, how have you done that?
You got to be crazy, man. That's part of it. You gotta almost be out of your mind, bro. You gotta want to see things that don't exist. You got to see them in your mind first, bro. But you really just got to be risky. Like there's so many resources out here, and we don't use them. Like, you want to take some chances. You want to lose some money. You want to reach out. People come to me all the time, and they just want the full-on blueprint to how to build a successful brand. You know what I'm saying? And it's like, you don't really want my blueprint, man. What you want to do is you want to have the energy, and you want to have the basic tools, the basic formula to finding out who you are and how you're going to navigate your way into this game. You don't want my formula because my formula isn't for you. You know what I'm saying? And yours isn't for me. I can break down the formula just for certain tools that I started with, but in the end, it's all got to be you. You got to do what you feel, do what makes you feel good, take chances, throw money around, lose money. Like, people are so scared to lose money, bro. And if I was scared to lose money, I wouldn't have none of this, because some of the manufacturers worked out, some of them didn't work out, but I got some that work now.
Right.
I put money out there, bro, and I wasn't scared to lose it. It ain't no foolproof way. It ain't no one way to do it. You get out there, you take chances, you do your research. Don't ask all the success stories exactly what they did. The wisdom is created when you make mistakes, man. That's where you get the wisdom from, bro. When you make mistakes is the best part of doing this. And I will tell you, 2010, I was starting my brand, and I had another brand that I looked up to. And I wanted him to give me the game. I was like, man, tell me how you do it. How do you get everybody wearing your clothes? Because I was buying his stuff too. And he responded to me, he said, man, the game is not to be sold, not to be told. After I deleted him, after I deleted him for that, you know what I'm saying? I went about my business. But now that I look back at what he said, I'm glad he did that because I created my own journey, man. And now I got a lot to talk about. You know what I'm saying? Now I can, now it means more to me.
Right.
Nobody gave me manufacturers, man. Nobody said, hey, here's how you get your clothes made. Here's the best man. Nobody gave me that. I reached out. I tried. I sent money around. Some money I lost. Some shit just got messed up. And some things actually worked. But I built a formula in the process.
Right.
Don't worry about the success stories. You can be one. And you got so much more to give people when you started from the ground up, man. And you created your own path. And the mistakes you made is the ones that that really became the real jewels and why you're so wise in this game now.
Wow. That's amazing, bro. I mean, you just gave a whole bunch of game right. And the big part, that I took from it is, you walk your own path, you figure things out. Yeah. One thing that you keep saying, bro, that I love it. This phrase needs to be coined.
What?
You know what I'm saying? You talk about you need to lose some money. You know what I'm saying?
Yes.
You need to lose some money.
Yes.
And it's almost like, bro, when you say that, it's almost taking something that most people would view as a negative and really looking at it as a positive, and not even just a positive, but a necessity. You know what I'm saying? You need to try some stuff out. And so I think that's amazing. And I think, like you said, as you walk through it, you find your own path. You're going to gain your own wisdom. You're going to be confident to tell your story in the game. That's going to help other people as well. So extremely powerful. When did the store come into play, bro? When did you start getting the store? How did that all happen?
Well, like I said, with the resurrection in 2019, like people just started, like everybody, people really started supporting me, man. Like they had known about the brand. And I think one of the good things about me, in all fairness, is that I was one of the pioneers where I'm at.
Right.
And so people never forgot my brand, even though that I didn't stop, building it. You know what I'm saying? Even though I did stop for a minute, people never forgot about the brand. And I think that, and I really do think that when I came back, people was really happy to see that. And so in other words, it grew really fast. I didn't expect to get a store. I didn't even want no store. I don't even like sitting in places for too long.
Yeah.
So, but I ended up getting a little small location last year. I lasted in there for about a month, maybe about 12, maybe about a month after a year, like 13 months. And it's like, I just started growing too fast, bro. Like I just can't stop creating stuff, like I'm so into this. I'm so into what I do. I'm so into seeing people's faces when they wear my stuff and how it makes them feel. That I just can't stop creating, and now I'm outgrowing all my spaces, you know what I mean? And it just happens that way. And so I've only had a store pretty much the last year and a half, like almost 2 years, maybe, you know what I mean? That I've had a store this whole time.
Yeah.
Right. And I had to have one because like I was just creating too much merchandise and, doing too much building, man. And so I needed a place for people to come sit and come rock with me.
That's fire. I love it. No, I think that's dope, bro. So, I know that, you're Portland based, right? This is what you do. In the background, it says original Portland streetwear. Right. I see that you even got the online website. So if we come back over and we take a look, have you always had the website, or was this something that came into play a little bit later on?
Yeah, bro, this came later. I was trying to avoid a website, man.
Yeah.
I did buy the domain and I did have it for a little bit back in, 2011 and 2012. But like I said, I wasn't focused, bro. So I had the website and I never really used it.
Yeah.
But the demand has got so crazy like this last year, like I could not afford to not have a website any longer.
Wow.
And I had to go through the horrendous process of documenting just about everything that I have, which is a lot,
right.
And getting it on the website, and I still got work to do on it. But and that's just another aspect of business that once I conquer scaling and, I'm gonna be a beast, man.
Right. And
I'm
I
not even
love it,
scaling,
bro. I mean,
I'm not even scaling really yet, bro. Like that. You know what I mean?
right. You still at, you at a place where where you can take it, but you
Right.
ain't even like went into full gear at this moment. You know what
That's
I'm
what I'm
saying? So
saying.
it's gonna be crazy when you do that.
It's gonna be
For
crazy,
sure.
bro.
And did it get to a place, within the past couple of years to where it started expanding outside of Portland, right? And
Yeah.
people from outside started wanting it. Like, how did that wave happen? How did that happen?
Because man, I'm gonna tell you how, bro. Like, number one, there's a lot of people from my city that live in other parts of the country, live overseas, and they always wear it.
Right.
And I got one of those brands that people are so happy to represent from Portland that they have to come by the shop and cop gear anytime they go out of town.
Yeah.
When they go out of town, they want to make sure that they represent from their city something that's dope.
Right.
And so I got customers all over the country now, bro. And again,
Right.
I'm not scaling like that, but I got customers like everywhere now.
Right.
And that's just growing right now, at that rate.
Right. That's fire, bro. Congratulations on that growth. So, one of the final things I wanted to do was come back and read really the second part of this post. So we talked about the struggle, but like I said, you put on here, you said, finally the brand is now taking care of me the last 2 years. Business is amazing. From 0 to 25K per month, and it's only growing. I say that to say this. Keep going. This is truly a marathon. I study energy and the law of attraction, and most of my moves have been calculated off of those vibes. I'll post my latest interview at the end of this post. My brand was officially designed to embrace the sneaker culture. Now it embraces universal positive energy. This is my latest store, and you can see maybe about 60% of my stock. And listen, y'all, this is the store that my brother just talked about. He showed us. You look at all the inventory and everything that he got, but I think it's clear as day from the conversation we talked about today. You started with Stackin Kickz and clothes and apparel and shoes, but now it's about this positive energy. What's the next place you taking this, bro?
I've just grown a lot, bro. I've grown so much, from when I first started the brand, and now my energy is starting to reflect throughout the brand. That was not my intentions. It was just a natural progression, me growing into, a human being, a grown man with values that supersede anything material.
Wow.
I hate that I even talked about money in the post. I never do that, but I just wanted people to see that it's possible because I've been in this group for a while, and I look at it all the time, but I never say nothing. And I realized that, I think people can use a dope story. I think they would like to see that. Everybody in there asking a lot of questions about this game and this business, and I wanted to be just one of the people that was able to, just get people to think differently, to know that it's possible.
Right.
But again, man, I've grown a lot, bro. And I've really seen the benefits of positive energy. I've seen the benefits of kind of just spread more love, the benefits of having real values, real solid values is what's going to get you through, especially when you become successful. And so, and that's the way people see it, and so I think what I'm saying is a part of this brand is become much less about shoes and sneakers than it is that people just want to reflect something positive.
Wow.
I think people come in here and buy my brand and don't care about shoes. They care about, man, I'm supporting something that's positive, something that makes me feel good. And so when I rock this, I'm representing like a beacon of what's good for us and what's good for the people. I'm making people feel good, people feeling inspired, included, a part of the bigger picture. And I never put myself above my community. I never put myself here and put them here. Anytime I say we doing something and we doing something, either we here or we here, but we together, and I appreciate that. I'm out here every day. I'm solo all the time, mostly. Like, people always come and talk to me. hit me up, ask for advice. Just being a real human being, man. I mean, that will grow your brand within itself. Now, I didn't know it worked like that, but this is what I'm finding out, that being a real human being of some value. Now, this don't mean I'm perfect. It don't mean I don't make mistakes. It don't mean everybody like me, and that's for sure. But it just means that, I do understand myself. I understand the importance of not being perfect, but understanding my imperfection is where I excel at, because I know myself well enough and I can catch myself in most circumstances, and I always keep my values, I think, at the forefront of my mind and what I do. I don't do anything for money. I'll turn down any type of money if it don't align with my values. I'll turn down any type of networking. I'll turn down any type of opportunity, any type of sponsorship. If it does not align with my values, I won't do it under no circumstances. So you got to stick with your values. You got to believe in something bigger than yourself. And that's the bottom line. And so a lot of people don't like me for that reason, because there's people that want to work with me that I cannot simply work with because of what they represent. And this is why understanding yourself and your values is important, bro, because, you got to stand for something that's bigger than you, and I keep saying that because without that, I wouldn't be here, bro. If it was just about David and what David wanted to do and where David come from and what's going on around David, David wouldn't be here on this level. I'm only here because I understand the picture. I see what it is and what it ain't, and I never mistake one for the other. You know what I'm saying? And so I stay consistent with what I represent, and I stay off the fence. And
hey,
people like that.
Nah, hey, bro, that's so fire, bro. And man, we're gonna end it there, bro. I think what you have shared with us today, bro, was extremely valuable. And I want to thank you because you talked about how you've been in the group for a while, and like you said, you just read it. Mm-hmm. But you felt like you had a story that could help other people out, number one, right? And it's clear as day because people ended up responding the way that it did. Mm-hmm. And it was to a place to where it caught my attention. And I was like, this ain't nothing that I just want to comment on. The moment I saw that, I reached out to you and I was like, bro, let's talk, because I felt like you had something, and just the speck of what you showed in those few words has translated all the way over to this full conversation what we've had right now for an hour, a little over an hour. So from brother to brother, my dog, I appreciate you, man. And I salute you for your journey, from the lessons that you have learned, from the path that you have blazed, what you're doing in your city, your community, but then all of this wisdom and just the way that you move, how you talked about you study energy, you study vibes, and that is really affecting your brand, helping it grow, but then touching other people as well. You know what I'm saying? And one of the big things that, I got from you today as well is your brand. You talked about, if we up here, we up here. If we down here, we down here. But we together, and you're building something with your community. Right. I think that's a big reason of why you're doing what you're doing. So, my brother, man, I appreciate you, family. I thank you for sharing and giving all this story and this wisdom to us today. Any final words that you want to pass to us? Anything that you want to give us before we close out?
Yeah, definitely. I just want people to understand, man, that like building a brand is quite a process. I think a lot of people are going to make the attempt to do it. Everybody's not going to last in this game. That's the facts. Because we don't need as many clothes as we making, right? Everybody's not going to last in this game, and so there's certain rules that I believe, a certain formula that you definitely want to be able to stay in tune with as you progress. I really encourage people to really, really consider what their brand name is. I told you guys what my brand name was. I told you how I started it, where it came from, what it means to me, what it means to the community and to the culture that it represents. And that it's way, way bigger than me. Okay. Take your brand name serious, and remember this jewel right here. You don't choose good brand names. Good brand names choose you because of who you are. Don't force yourself to create a brand name. You know what I'm saying? Like really just sometimes you got to sit back. Like I tried to create a brand at first. It didn't work. I created that. But when I sat back and let it come to me, it created this. You understand? And so you got to let the brand, don't force yourself to choose a brand name, please. Think about that and think about how it connects to the people. Because if it's really, really you, it should be unique. Unique is what's going to do the trick. You know, it's so much going on in this industry. We need more unique brands. We need brands that are more passionate, brands that got real history with the owner. You know, you know what I mean? We need more creativity. Don't even pick, like, if you can find a name in a dictionary, I wouldn't pick it. You know what I'm saying? And this is what I tell people coming up. So don't just pick a name and, you know, like really, really, really dive into who you are and who you always been. And your brand name should come from that. If this industry is for you, you know, if you're really gonna be a part of this, and this is designed for you, you're supposed to be here, and then you'll be able to you'll get hit with a good brand name, a good philosophy, you know, a good movement, a good energetic base grind, you know, that'll make sense to you and everybody around you. Don't force yourself in this game, man. Don't get into it, you know, just because people think there's money in it. Because if I would have got in it for the money, I would have quit a long time ago. Wow. You know, I would have quit a long time ago, bro. Wow. You know, when I didn't have any finances, I still believed in what I was doing. You know, I still had to push it, and I had to reroute myself. But, you know, and I did question myself. But in the end, I still stayed in it when the money wasn't there, you know. You know, and so make sure that you're doing this for the right reason, please. That's all I ask you. Do it for the right reason. If you do it for the right reason, that's going to resonate with the people. That's going to resonate with your supporters and with your community and with the universe. If you're doing it for any other reason than what's inside you and what you're supposed to be doing, you know, it could get a little bit turbulent, bro.
Right. Amazing, my brother. That's amazing for everybody. You know, let your brand reflect who you are. Reflect who you are genuinely on the inside, and you can't go wrong with that. So, my brother, where can anybody find you? If people want to come and support, if people want to follow you on social media and connect, how can they get in contact with you?
Well, I'm on Instagram at Stackin Kickz, and that's STACKINKICKZ. So Stackin, no G, Kicks with a Z, like zebra, no S at the end. Absolutely. My website is good, stackinkicks.com. Stackin Kickz at Gmail. On Facebook, I'm Stackin Kickz Clothing. What else? If you're in Portland, then, you know, I'm on 33rd and Sandy, 3331 Northeast Sandy, Northeast Portland, right down the street from where I grew up at and went to high school at. So, you know, so everything is good, man. I appreciate the show. I like what you guys are doing, man. It's super, super dope. I kind of been seeing the movement. Glad to play the role, man, and you know, glad I can lend a little bit of my wisdom and you know, intelligence to this industry for anybody that could probably use it, man.
Absolutely, man. Well, look, I appreciate you personally for putting your fingerprint on this live show. It's a blessing to have you, man. I'm honored to have this conversation, and many, many blessings as you continue to build, my brother. Salute to you, and I wish you the best, bro.
Man, one love.
Absolutely. We'll be in touch, fam.
Okay.
All right, bet. And another one. What's going on, family? What y'all think about that, man? Today was a deep conversation for me, man. And I appreciate conversations like this. Real quick, before I move forward, I just want to make sure I give a big shout out to S. Perry. S. Perry, thank you so much for donating for the show and sending a super chat. Says, being a human being will build your brand. I always say a pure heart would take me further than popularity and a purse could. And that's a fact, straight up. And I appreciate that S. Perry. I know that you're always a loyal viewer and you support the show, and I can't thank you enough. I appreciate it. But this was extremely valuable today. I appreciate my brother David Stackin Kickz to come and share all this wisdom with us, right? We had a great conversation about t-shirts, but it was about so much more. It was the backstory. You know what I'm saying? It was the struggles, but more than anything, y'all can tell he talked about energy so much, right? And it flowed through his story so much as we had this conversation. And I think that alignment is something that every single one of us should take a look in the mirror and ask ourselves, am I doing things that are aligned with my purpose, with my gifts, and the reason for me being here? And so, you know how we gonna do it, man. You know what I'm saying? I'm note taker number one when we go through these interviews. So I'm about to drop off these millionaire notes, and we're going to go ahead and get into this and do a quick recap of what my brother talked about. So, starting off, back in 2005, when he started, he had no idea what he wanted to do. He said from a child that he always wanted to be great. He always had this feeling like he wanted to do something that was significant, that was positive in the world. All right. He talked about energy and self, and he would search, right? And he would keep looking for those things that he could possibly do to make that type of impact. One thing that my dog said is, he said, your passion chooses you. It's not one of those things where maybe you choose it, it chooses you. And his was fashion at that point in time, right? For the first 5 years of selling clothes, basically, he didn't even create his own brand. He talked about how he had his last $1,000 and he went on the internet and he went ahead and he was going to buy it, and he got up and he walked off. All right. And so after he walked off, he came back and he heard something, and it was like, if you don't do it now, when are you ever going to do it? He had his last $1,000, and so he went ahead and hit that button. And when he got the clothes, it wasn't really even what he thought it was, right? But he said at that point in time, it changed his trajectory forever. You know what I'm saying? It changed his path. He went on a new search. He started collecting. He started searching and doing all these different things to start building over time. He said that he didn't know how to do it. He said it was rough. But one of the things he talked about later on in the conversation is you don't really have to know how to do everything, but you learn and you follow and you listen to that inside voice and let it guide you, and you will get the steps. All right. So he talked about he was nervous and he knew he had to do it. He talked about how he felt like he needed to send vibes through the universe, only vibes that he could personally give and he could distribute to the universe. He felt like he had to do that. The other thing that he talked about was it was bigger than he feels, right? It's bigger than him. It's bigger than what he thinks. He talked about it. It's a lot about getting inspiration handed down to him from a higher power, and then taking that and putting it out into the universe and into the world. But it ain't all about what he thought, right? So it got to a place to, from 2005, 2009, he's doing this. He's selling stuff out of the trunk. He's learning the game, different things like that. And then it got to a place to where he ended up figuring out about the magic show. That's in Vegas, I believe, right? So he goes to the show. He had no idea about why he should go to the show. He gets to the place where all the brands, and he trying to figure out, okay, how can I get unique clothes to take back to Portland? I think he said his audience of people that knew him called him Mr. Exclusive. So basically he's searching. He's in this one room. It's a lot of stuff going down, music playing, blah, 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 right? I don't even think he had a ticket, but then he ends up figuring out about this other room, this other place, right, that has manufacturers. And so he goes over, he looks in, it ain't no music playing, but then he sees all of these international manufacturers, right, that are making stuff. And that was the reason why he felt like he was led to go to the show in the first place. And he's like, oh man, I'm sitting here trying to figure out how to buy other people's stuff. Now I figured out the people who make the stuff, and I could figure out how to go ahead and do my own thing. So he figures out a little part of the game, and he goes back to Portland. At this point in time, he creates his first brand that doesn't really do anything, right? And when he creates this brand, he said that he made a mistake. He said he made it a mistake. He said one of the mistakes that we make is that we create things that we like, but we totally neglect what our audience wants, right? We need to take heed and saying, okay, yeah, I like this idea, but is there a larger audience that I can serve? Are there other people that I can speak to that can resonate, that can rally around this brand? And it's not just about me. But that's one of the things that he did at the very beginning stages. All right. And then after that, basically, he just shut it down. He was like, nah, this ain't working, right? And he talked about it again. He said that his decisions get handed down by the bigger picture. That's something that he had to learn later on. Another thing that he talked about is it needs to be authentic. When you're creating, it needs to be authentically you. Authentically you. Because when you come from that authentic place, nobody else can make it. Nobody else can create it. Nobody else has the creativity, the fingerprint, the ideas that you have. So when you tap into that place, you're going to make something that's one-on-one, right? And you ain't got to worry about anybody else taking it because only you can do it, right? Now, one thing that he talked about is everybody is selling clothes. Everybody is selling joggers. Everybody is selling t-shirts. There's things out there. There's so much stuff out there for us to buy, right? That stuff, the clothing isn't in demand, but he talked about the brand is in demand. He said the brand is in demand. What you uniquely create is what is in demand, all right? So it gets to a place to where he ends up shutting that down, and then he starts thinking, and he talked about this towards the end of the interview. He spoke about how basically when it comes down to your brand name, don't try to force it all the time. Don't try to force it and be like, oh, I'm going to try to make this, or I'm going to go with this trend, or this is the thing that's making money. He talked about sitting back and make sure that brand name, what you're creating, is aligned with who you are. So at this point in time, my brother, he ended up saying that Stackin Kickz, this is something that he's been doing authentically since he was like a child. You know what I'm saying? Since he was a child, he's been doing this. And so he thought, okay, I'm not going to call it collecting shoes. You know what I'm saying? Collecting sneakers. I'm not going to do that. That's what we're doing. That's the act of it. But you know what? I'm going to take this collecting sneakers thing and I'm going to put my own spin on it. I'm going to put a little dash of my flavor into it. You know what I'm saying? I'm going to make sure that it's uniquely mine, right? I'm going to put some flavor into it that can't nobody else do. And at that point in time, the whole collecting sneakers niche ended up being Stackin Kickz, right? He put a spin on it. He added some flavor to it. You know what I'm saying? So at that point in time, he ends up doing the Stackin Kickz, right? He goes through the process. He said that the brand has to be able to identify with the large group of supporters. That's one thing that I want y'all to think about. As you're creating your brand, as you have your brand, make sure that the audience that you're trying to speak to is large enough. All right? Pay attention to that. The dope thing that he said so many dope things, but one of the things that really stood out to me in this whole conversation that we had with David was basically he talked about building a dope brand together with the audience. It's not just David's brand. It's not just the brand that, okay, it came out of my idea. This is my thing. This is my baby. He ended up opening it up and saying, you know what? This is for us. This is something that we gonna build together. He said that he got customers that might fight him over the brand if he do something with it. You know what I'm saying? So with that being said, he brought his community in and made them feel like they were a part of it as well. Extremely powerful. What type of vibe, what type of community, what type of connection are you building with your audience when you create the brand? Are you making it feel like they are a part of it? All right. So with that being said, he ends up putting a spin on it. All right. He said that when he started, he ended up ordering his first few hundred shirts. He didn't know what he was doing. Again, right? A lot of y'all are going through the process. I don't know how to start the store. I don't know how to, outsource stuff. I don't know how to market and advertise. You ain't got to know all the answers. First thing, make sure that you're tapped in the line, but you ain't got to know all the answers. Start walking. He ends up getting about 200 t-shirts. He goes to stores. He ain't even going to wholesalers and stuff at this point. He finds somebody to go ahead and print shirts and do shirts for him. The shirts come out bad. They falling apart. right? Imagine you started something and right off the top, you invest the money, top dollar at that, right? You ain't even buying wholesale, and then they ended up messing it up, right? He didn't know what was going on. He thought that the person knew what was going on, but they ended up messing it up, did a horrible job. When you have these setbacks, do they stop you in your tracks? Or do you believe in the vision enough to make sure that you keep going and that you keep building so you can bring it to life? And that's exactly what he did. He kept going. He kept moving. He found somebody else, right? He ended up learning all of these lessons. But then it got to a certain point to where he's going, he's building. It's about 1.5 years, but then he starts running into these troubles, right? He talked about energy management. Energy management is something that he's big in. And basically, he got with people who were draining his energy, right? He wasn't doing things that were aligned with him, right? He found himself out of sync, right? And then those were the results of him not really thriving in the brand. Things weren't going right, right? Friends, girlfriend, all type of different stuff. It wasn't working correctly. And as a result of that, the brand started going down. And it was about 3 years to where he ended up being flat broke. He struggled paying the rent, and he was going through a tough time. But then it got to a place after that time period where he was like, you know what? I'm not going to keep walking and doing the same things. I need to wake up. He had this vision, this voice that said, you need to get back to Stackin Kickz. And at that point in time, he ended up drawing a hard line in the sand and basically saying, okay, there's going to be some people I'm going to have to cut off. Some people in my circle, I'm going to have to separate myself. Some things that I'm doing, I'm going to stop doing those things. And as a result of him restructuring his life, right, he cut off all the bad energy. So now he could put all of that back into the brand. And so at that point in time, he ended up collaborating with a friend. But then at a certain point in time, he ended up sneaking the Stackin Kickz t-shirt, the resurrection t-shirt that he showed us. He put that back out, and then boom, it was back like he never left. People start getting at him, right? People start working with him, and they start buying his stuff again, and he was back on the right track. And I really want y'all to pay attention to this. Manage your energy. Manage the people who are around you. Take inventory. If people aren't feeding into you, if people aren't consistent in their actions with you, if people are not, if you get around somebody and you don't feel better, but you feel like you're draining to take you lower, think about that. Think about if that's somebody that you need to be around. And like he said, it doesn't always have to be no feelings lost. It ain't got to be one of those hard things like I don't rock with you, but it's almost like I got to love you from a distance, right? And I want y'all to pay attention because I'm sure that some people have those type of people in your lives that you might need to be able to socially distance a little bit. You feel what I'm saying? So with that being said, basically he moves, he starts building, and then he goes through this process of making this amazing brand. He's creating. He ended up showing us in the video, the store. He got hats, sweatshirts, jackets, jogging suits, all type of different stuff like that. And he said that he ended up trying to get the game from somebody at one point in time. And basically at that point in time, they played him. They put him to the side. They said that the game ain't to be sold and the game ain't to be told, right? He couldn't get an understanding of suppliers, none of that. And he ended up being upset about that. But he realized later on that it was a blessing because he went through the process. He started searching. He started learning more about the journey. And it means more to him now because he went through the process. He said that the formula that he has, maybe that formula isn't for everybody else. But it's important for us to start trying to find our own formula, right? It's going to mean something. We're going to get wisdom from it. And one great thing that he talked about during the conversation is there's wisdom when you make mistakes. That's when you start finding wisdom. He said, throw some money around. Don't be afraid to lose money. Everybody, when you running ads, when you're doing whatever it is, don't be afraid to lose money. That's part of investing. And if you don't make any money, if you don't earn any money, there's going to be lessons that you learn that will propel you along your journey when you do that. I thought that was very valuable as well. So about 1.5 years ago, my brother, he ends up getting his store. You know what I'm saying? He gets his store and he talks about people who come into the store, But it ain't even all about the clothes, right? It ain't all about the Stackin Kickz. It's about a positive symbol that is behind the brand. It's about the conversations that he has with people in the store, the way that he's connecting on a deeper level, more than something that is just saying Stackin Kickz, right? The reflection of who he is, being a beacon of light. People are coming in and being like, you know what? This brand stands for something positive. I might not even be a shoe collector, but I'm going to buy this brand and I'm going to stick with it, because it represents something positive and it's a beacon of light in the community. My brother talked about sharing value and benefits of sharing love with the world. You know what I'm saying? Making sure that we're aligned in energy. He preached that over and over and over again. And so today was very inspirational for me. I love having conversations like that. I love talking about the deeper facets of building business. It ain't all got to be about strategy and technicality and tactics and all these things. Sometimes it's about how do we just manage life and manage this journey as people, as a person. He talked about being a real human being. And when you be a real human being and you're transparent and you're genuine and you share your story and you talk about your losses, people connect with it. My brother put a whole message in the Facebook group. So many people connected to it. He was on the show today because I connected to it, right? And that allows you to draw people in and really change lives with what you've created. So, y'all, those are the millionaire notes for today. All right, that's everything for today. I had about 4 pages worth of notes. I hope that y'all found a lot of value from this conversation. I sure did. Make sure that you listen to this again. As I always say, repetition is the mother and father of learning. This is not one of those things where we listen to one time. Y'all know when you listen to things over and over again, you're going to catch another gem that you might have missed this one. As I always say again, if you found value from this, make sure you share it, put it in a group, send it to somebody who could use this type of motivation along their journey as they're trying to build their brand. And T-Shirt Millionaires is going to continue to go up. I wanted to give a big shout out to Mr. C.L. Smith. Thank you so much, C.L. Smith. I truly appreciate it. A little something for the offering plate. Thanks, Charles. I appreciate everybody that watches the show, that supports the show. If you can, just do me a big favor. Make sure you hit the like button. Make sure you hit the subscribe. All right. And with that being said, before we do get off, I just want to give a big shout out to my dog over at 100 Braun. I ended up doing an unboxing. Me and wifey did it last week. Yeah, we did it last week or over the weekend. And this is 100 Braun. This is for the big guys. And I just wanted to make sure I give you your just due. I wore the merch today. I got everybody's merch that I'm going to be wearing as I keep doing these videos. And I appreciate y'all, man. Thank y'all so much. I'm not just a T-shirt millionaire. This is T-Shirt Millionaires. We're a community. We're a family. We stick together. We grow together. We share resources. We lift each other up. We're positive. We believe in our vision and we take things to the next level. We do not fall. We do not bend under pressure, but we make sure that we stay persistent in the pursuit of our goals, our visions, and our dreams. Thank y'all so much. And I'm going to end it just like I end it every single time. If you could see it in your mind's eye, one day, you going to be able to see it with your real eyes. I truly appreciate it, T-Shirt Millionaires. I will see you on the next episode. Peace. I'll talk to y'all in the next one.